To create our pajama pants, we are going to be using a Simplicity pattern, Simplicity S9127. This pattern was chosen because it is 3 different lengths. You can either choose to make pajama pants, long pajama shorts, or shorter pajama shorts. I also like the variety of sizes that are available in this pattern. You'll see that it's unisex, meaning that it can be used for both women or men, and it can also be used for people who are larger or smaller. When deciding which size you should make, you should look on the back of the pattern. The back of the pattern contains a lot of different information, from what kinds of fabrics are appropriate to use, to the sizing, or how much fabric you need to buy, to the sizing of the garment. This pattern gives you the finished garment measurements. You'll see that they have them for the hip, and then the side lengths of A, B, and C, and then you'll also see the leg width for type A. If you're wondering, what does A, B, and C mean? A, B, and C refers to the different views of the pattern. You'll see here that A is for the pants, B is for the long shorts, and C is for the shorter shorts. This is just a way for the pattern company to help communicate to you about different directions, different pattern pieces, and differences between the different steps of the individual patterns. For these pajama pants, it'll be pretty similar between A, B, and C. However, if you were to get into more complicated garments, these may vary drastically. There are some patterns that contain shirts, dresses, and pants all in the same pattern. And for those, if you had a dress, pants, and shirt, those would vary drastically in both the pieces and instructions. However, here it's a little more fluid. So I know that I want to make pajama pants. So I'm gonna look here, and I've already taken my hip measurements. It's about 40, so I'm gonna look over and see what's the most appropriate. You'll notice that this says finished garment measurements. So if you want something very, very baggy, you may want to choose something more on the wider end. However, if you want it to be super fitted, you would want to go on the lower end. Since I said my measurement was 40, I know I'm not a child or a teen, so I'm going to start looking at the teens and adults. An extra small is 36. That wouldn't fit on me. A small is 40. Since my measurement is 40, and the finished garment measurement means that that's the size of the garment when it's done, that would be very, very snug and very uncomfortable. 44 is the medium, which is about what I'd go with. That gives about 4 inches of wiggle room, which is pretty good. If I wanted it to be more roomy, I could go with a large, which would give me 8 inches of wiggle room. Or if I wanted it to be very, very large, I could go with an extra large, which would give me 52 inches. You'll also notice that the lengths vary between the sizes as well as the leg widths. For this pattern, key things, these are going to be all the dimensions that you need to note. So make sure that you are measuring both your hips and how long you want the sides to be. I know that I am pretty short, and so I've already taken into account the lengths, and so any of these lengths will work for me. Let's see. And so once you've identified which size you want to make, you will move up above to identify how much fabric you need. As I am making, you'll notice that there's different sections for A, B, and C. Since I'm making A, I will go across to the medium, and I will notice that there's 2 numbers. One's 2 3/4 and one's 2 3/8. How do I know which one I need? If I read over here, I'll see that one is for 45-inch fabric and one is for 60-inch fabric. That means how wide it is. Fabric is sold in 2 different widths, 45 inches and 60 inches. However, today's flannel and cottons are often sold in increments that are even narrower than this 45 and 60. And so when I'm buying 45-inch fabric, I probably want to buy more than just 2 3/4 yard of fabric. I have some fun cat fabric that I've already picked up, and I made sure to get 3 yards, which is more than needed. You may also want to pre-wash and iron this fabric, as I've done here. By pre-washing the fabric, we pre-shrink it, so then our finished project will shrink less as well. So now that I've identified what size I need to make, I have my fabric, I can go ahead and get out my pattern pieces and get ready to cut it out. When I say pattern pieces, what I mean is inside this envelope, I have 2 different main parts. I have instructions, which are on a little bit heavier of paper. And then I also have tissue paper pattern pieces. These tissue paper pattern pieces are pretty fragile, however, they're excellent tools to use. They contain all the different pieces we will need. However, this paper pattern also specifies which pattern pieces we need. Remember, I said we're making A, or the pants, and so if I go over here, I'll see what pattern pieces I need. Here we say we have front, back, and elastic guide. You'll notice here how the front piece is required for A, B, and C. The back piece is required for A, B, and C, and the elastic guide is required for all three as well. So I will need all three pieces in my size of medium. They're all together in a group right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and use paper scissors to cut these out so I can iron them and lay them out on my fabric. So what you have to do now is identify which style you wanna make, figure out your sizing, figure out how much fabric you need. Then you need to cut out your pattern pieces and iron them. You will need to cut out all three in your size for this project.